First of all, I wanted to read just a little quote by Mary Oliver, who's one of my favorite poets. She says, "It is a serious thing to be all in on this fresh morning in this broken world." It is a serious thing to be all in on this fresh morning in this broken world. And here you all are, showing up. And that's what I believe we're called to do, is just to keep showing up. And just be all in. And that doesn't mean doing it perfect by any means. It just means showing up. So I also wanted to just read a short little piece by Judith Lasater. This is a book called Living Your Yoga. And this is a chapter where she's talking about one of the first Yoga Sutras. It's, and I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce the Sanskrit, but the translation is the yielding of the fluctuations of our mind, which is what yoga is achieved through practice and dispassion. Dispassion just simply means letting go of the outcome. So we show up, we practice, and then we let it be what it is. We don't have to force anything to happen, right? Isn't that freeing? So she says, one way to view enlightenment is as a radical shift in perspective. Nothing outside of you has changed, but you have changed. And yet, paradoxically, you have not changed, but rather have become what you already are. This is our yoga. This is the yoga. It's the yoking of our mind and body so that we can uncover all the layers and come to our truest essence that can't even be named. You have just removed the smokescreen of ignorance so that what always has been present has become apparent. And so this is why Shannon and I do what we do, these offerings, to show up and just simply practice, to show up and practice so that we can begin to connect in a little more deeper to our truest essence. And we don't have to do anything but show up. Isn't that good news? So this morning, I want to offer a real simple meditation that's meaningful in my own practice. And it works a little bit works a lot with breath, and works specifically with the channel of the spine. In yoga, we call this the Sushumna. And so the Sushumna, if you've ever seen it, it's this beautiful picture. It almost looks like the medical staff. There are these sort of energies that cross. It's called Ida and Pingala. It's basically the solar energy and the lunar energy. And they cross over in through the spine, and the spine is the central channel. And the spine is so powerful. In yoga, we say that, we're only as old as our spine is young. So if we can keep our spine flexible, if we can keep our spine fluid with breath, then there we have vitality. And so this is a lovely meditation, I think, that helps us with that. So everybody just take your hand to the crown of your head, and then take your hand, so I'm going to ask you to take your hand between your inner thighs, below where your pelvis, your genitals are, if you will. Okay, so you're not touching anything, but you're just right there between your hands. So this is our crown chakra and our root chakra. Okay, so these are the two places. It's almost like where your tailbone might land. Where your bottom hand is where, if your tailbone were continue to move down, that's where the tailbone would be, as if we literally had a tail. Okay, so you're welcome to keep your hands here for just a moment, and then I'll unless you want to just move them now. But when you inhale, imagine, actually, let's move the hand. This is helpful. So as you inhale, take your top hand in front of your body so that you inhale down the front of your spine. And then as you exhale, let the exhale rebound up the back of your spine. Okay? So taking your hand again to the crown of your head, and you can use your hand if you'd like, or you can just use your imagination. But as you inhale, bring your top hand down the front of your spine so that you're bringing the inhale into the front of your spine and into your body. And then as you exhale, let that rebound up the back of your spine and all the way up to the crown of your head. Kind of pause at the crown. And then inhale again, bringing the breath all the way down the front of your body. So this is the simple meditation. And feel free to, use your hand in this way, or if you prefer to keep your hands, on your thighs and just let them rest, and use your imagination to draw the energy down the front of your spine with your inhale. And on your exhale, draw the energy up the back of your spine. And breath is energy. In yoga, we call this prana. So imagine that you are bathing your spine with breath, with prana. Cushioning your vertebra with cerebral spinal fluid. Like, we can do that consciously. We can bring nourishment and blood flow. We can bathe our spine and these energy channels with breath, with nourishment, oxygen, blood flow. And then begin to see if on every inhale, at the end of every inhale, pause at the bottom, with the tip of your tailbone, and even further. And then exhale at the back of the spine and pause at the crown before you breathe back in down the front of your spine. Pause at the end of your inhale. And then pause at the end of your exhale. Just creating this circular, fluid breath. The circular, fluid image and energy. Continue to stay with the image, stay with the movement of your breath, moving into the front of your spine, moving out through the back of your spine. And let this focus be your anchor this morning to help bring your mind into the place of stillness. Just continue to bring your attention back to either the movement of your hand or the image in your mind. Whenever your mind starts to wander, just bring it back right here. Crown of your head, breathing down to the tailbone and beyond. Exhaling up the back of your spine all the way to the crown of the head. bringing vitality, more life force to your entire being. As you sit with this, if you notice that the image is not enough for you, let your hand kind of join back in with the breath. Just bringing the hand down with your inhale, moving it up with every exhale. Just know that that's a possibility. If you prefer to keep your hands still, that's also a possibility. We have these tools and these aids to help our mind. Permission to use them. I invite you, if your hand is still moving, just to let your hand rest in your lap. Begin to feel once again real consciously into the places where your legs and your feet connect to the floor or chair beneath you. Feel your breath moving. Just continually, like deliberately, in and out. Begin to notice the sounds that you hear around you as you begin to bring your awareness a little bit more into the space around you, at the same time connecting to you. I invite you to bring your hands to your heart center, let your thumbs rest there, and just take a moment to bow not only to your inner heart, but also those that you share this space with, this time with. And then encourage you to take your left hand to your heart and your right hand palm up on your thigh. So this little symbolic reminder for you to, stay connected to yourself, to your precious inner heart, so that, through this, your right hand, you may be of service and you may be an offering in this broken world, in your life, in the people's lives that your life touches. And then slowly begin to open your eyes when you're ready. I want to close with one more little quote. This is by another favorite author of mine, Anne Lamott. And she says, "Hope begins in the dark. The stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do the right thing, the dawn will come. You wait and watch and work. You don't give up." Thank you for showing up this morning. It's lovely to be with you. And I hope to see you tomorrow. We'll be here